What's going on, dudes? My name is AK, and in today's video we're going to be talking about autism, feelings, and other people. A couple of events have happened to me. I'm not going to name them. I don't want to go into details. This isn't a name and shame. The people who I'm talking about know who they are, and they may watch this video, and that's fair enough. I just want you to know I don't hate you. I don't dislike you. I perfectly understand. But I just wanted to sort of talk about some finer points that they raise in our discussions and just sort of go through them. So this video might be a bit long, it might not be, I'm not sure. I haven't got a script or anything, I'm just sort of speaking from my mind / heart, I guess. So the first thing I wanted to really discuss was how people don't really seem to understand what it's like for someone who has autism and ADHD to deal with, you know, situations that arise in social sort of scenarios. And I just want to preface this by saying that I am not at all categorically trying to use my disability as an excuse for behaving like an arse. That is not what I am doing. What I'm merely trying to do is to sort of describe to you what it feels like to be me on the receiving end of what I consider bullshit. So let's just go straight into this, shall we? So what you've got to imagine, okay, is that in every social situation I find myself in, whatever it is, I have to compare that situation to any number of multitude of other situations that are similar, exactly like it, or barely like it. And then I have to decide whether or not what I want to say or do would be the correct course of action given that situation. Now, I understand that for neurotypical, and by neurotypical I mean people who don't have ADHD or autism or Aspergers or any form of ASD, autism spectrum disorder, what I've just described probably isn't particularly very difficult. But what you have to imagine, and remember rather, is that for people with ADHD and autism, we tend to make mistakes a lot. We tend to jump to a conclusion or make an assumption based on information that we have that might not be relevant to the situation, or we compare the situation that we're in to something that has nothing to do with what's going on. A good example of this is I find it difficult to tell when people are taking the piss out of me or having a laugh with me. I find it very hard to tell the difference between someone making a joke sort of towards me based upon any numerous things that are about my person. So maybe if they're making a joke about my weight, for instance, it's someone I've met and I haven't met them for a long time, and they go, "Oh my God, Lucas, you're very fat, aren't you?" You know, and they're not trying to be horrible, but it just comes across to me as if they are, and I have to remember that maybe they're not trying to be horrible and maybe it's a joke. And there have been situations in my life where someone has been literally trying to start a fight with me, and I have assumed that they were joking around, only to my detriment to find out that they were not, and that they then punched me in the face. These are situations which I find very difficult to discern right from wrong in terms of actions that I need to partake in order to resolve the situation. And it's just part and parcel of having autism, I'm afraid. It is what it is, and there's nothing I can really do about it either, which is more frustrating to me because I really don't like not knowing how to behave in certain situations. It's very annoying. Now, I can only go off the information that I've been given, okay? If, for whatever reason, you and I have had a disagreement about something, and I've come to the assumption about something about you, or a character flaw that you have, or whatever, that is because I am basing that opinion on information that I have. The information that I have might not be up to date, let's say, because you haven't explained to me the situation, and I don't really know what else to think or what else to say, so I can only go on the information that I have. So we've covered briefly and basically what it is like for someone who has ASD to how they perceive the world. Sometimes if you're being horrible to me, I won't realise, and other times if you're being nice, I won't realise. And the majority of times people tell me jokes, I don't laugh at them. That's not because I don't necessarily think they're funny, it's that I don't understand that it is a joke. I know that this is something that most people, most neurotypical people, just do. It's something that they take for granted. It's like somebody who is in a wheelchair, for instance, and they can't walk, right? You wouldn't say that they are blaming their disability on the fact that they have to use a lift or an elevator instead of using the stairs, would you? Because that would be ridiculous. They can't walk. So much the same. I have trouble in social situations understanding people's feelings and understanding what they are trying to portray to me as a person. And that is pretty much identical to how I feel. I can't use the stairs in terms of social situations, and it's not that I am trying to use this as an excuse so I can constantly be a dickhead, because I'm not. I don't really want to be a dickhead. I don't really want to have no friends. I don't really want to be pitied. And again, I just want to preface this as well. This is not to do with self-pity. I'm not, this is me being as blunt and factual as I fucking can. Like, when I tell you things, and I say things that are like, I say stuff like, well, people tend to fuck me off eventually, because people do. A lot of people that I've had as friends for long periods of time don't want to be my friend anymore, because we've had a disagreement about something, we've fallen out about something, and things were said, and assumptions were made, and that's it. That's pretty much it. I can't do anything about it. I can't take back the things that I've said and done, and I can't change that. And the people that don't like me, don't like me. I can't force them to like me. I wouldn't try, even if I had the ability to make everyone like me, I wouldn't do that, because that's not really what you should do as an individual. You should allow people to have opinions and feelings that are different to yours. That is just how the world works. So yeah. But coming off from that, there are times where people do things to me that I feel are a betrayal of my trust and or friendship, because they are things that I personally would not do to other people. Now, I understand that people treat people differently depending on who they are and what they are in relation to either how close they live, how long they've known somebody, how, where geographically in the world they are, what they do together on a regular basis, that sort of thing. But the way I see it, okay, this is how I at least try to treat all my friends, is I am loyal to a fault. I will tell them how I feel. I will not hide anything from them. If I have an issue with something they've done, I will tell them and I will talk to them about it. And honestly, the people that I find who are closest to me are the people that talk to me and treat me the same. The people who tend to hide what they want to say and hide how they feel are the people that I eventually aren't friends with anymore. And, I just want to say as well that I'm not self-pitying myself here. This is just the truth. People will fuck me off and people will stop being my friend for any number of a myriad of reasons, but not least of all probably because they think I'm an arsehole. They think I'm a dictator. They think I'm up my own arse. They think I'm smug. They think I'm something. And the thing that I find really annoying about all of this is the certain personality traits that I have. If I was born as a woman, let's say, now this might come across as a loaded statement, so I do apologise, but if I was born female, my ability to speak my mind might not be seen as such a detriment to me as a man, because men who speak their minds are assholes, and women who tend to speak their mind are empowered. That's my assumption, based on the information that I have gathered throughout my life, and I'm not attempting to be sexist in any way, shape or form. I understand that men and women have their own opinions on what is or isn't more difficult in their own personal lives and the objectives that they have within those. I'm merely stating that from my opinion that I feel that if I was a woman, people wouldn't give me as much shit as they do. But that isn't the main point of this. That is just an observation that I've made over a long period of being alive on this planet. Speaking of being alive on this planet, most people in my situation tend to not like being alive. Now, I just want to preface this as well. This is not me admitting that I want to commit neck rope or any of that shit. I'm not saying that. I don't want your pity. I'm not trying to garner any type of pity from you in any way, shape or form. It is merely me saying how I feel, that being alive is very annoying. Having all of these emotions and feelings is very annoying, and it's something that is very difficult for people who are on the ASD spectrum, or have ASD rather, find it very difficult to live in a conscious situation with other people, and it's just shit, because we're constantly having to rethink and reevaluate everything we say and do because that situation didn't work, or this thing didn't happen, or this person doesn't like me and I don't understand why. And you're constantly trying to look through in your memories and mind all of the situations that might have anything to do with what you're currently, doing in general. And it's just so much effort, so much work, and you just have no idea how absolutely exhausting it can be. And there are times where, again, people like me will lose our shit because we are exhausted. We are mentally exhausted from having to deal with neurotypical crap. And it is just so frustrating having to, I can't even get the words out of my mouth right now. Just how, if I didn't have to deal with the shit I have to deal with on a daily basis, my life would be so much better. But I can't. I have to deal with it, unfortunately. And now we're going to get into feelings. Okay, as I said before, people with ASD are normally seen as robots, that they don't have feelings, and that their ability to feel certain things is less than people who are not, or don't have ASD, rather. That is simply not true. People who have ADHD and people who are on the autistic spectrum feel emotions a lot more vividly than most other people. The best way I can describe it is, imagine you were painting something, and while you were painting you turned up the saturation. I don't know how you do it, but you just turn up the saturation, so all the colours become more vivid and more expressed. That's pretty much how emotions work on the autistic spectrum. From that's my sort of analogue of how to describe it, at least. And that's how it comes across. If I get angry, I don't just get a little bit angry, I get very angry. I get very angry very quickly. And I start shouting, and my partner knows this all too well. There are times where we have a tiny disagreement that spirals out into me screaming and shouting about bullshit because my brain just can't comprehend the ability to just not chill, essentially. And it's just something that is part of my life, and no number of anger management classes or any of this sort of stuff will ever help, because it's not something that I can control. It's just something that is like people who have Tourette's. Let's use Tourette's as an example, that have tics and say words and offensive things and whatever else. When they're under stress and they're angry or upset, the tics are more pronounced, they're more exaggerated, and it's the same with me. If I am upset about something, I will come across like I'm trying to be argumentative or confrontational, and in reality, even though I don't mean it that way. But that is the thing that people don't really want to listen to or care about, It's just Lucas being a dickhead. Who cares? And then we're on to the final thing, which is friends and friendships. I'm quite, I don't know how to put this. I am a person who values the interaction and input of other people. I value that. I wish that I was better at talking to people. I wish that I was better at communicating with people about my feelings and how their actions might have hurt me, and vice versa. But unfortunately, I struggle with that quite a lot, to the point where people tend to be friends with me for a short period of time, and then they either get fed up of my bullshit, which is my autistic rants or my emotional mood swings, whatever else, or they get to the point where they feel like I'm using my disabilities as an excuse to allow me to behave in objectifiable ways, which I understand. I totally understand. If I had to deal with someone like me, I would probably fuck them off too. If I was a normal person, if I didn't have to deal with the shit I deal with, if I was a normal human being, neurotypical, and I had to deal with someone who was like me, I would fuck them off, because I'm a very annoying person to be around. I'm a very annoying person to talk to. I'm a very annoying person to exist with. I speak my mind and tell people how I feel and tell people my opinions, and I'm not trying to say that I'm opinionated. If I have an opinion on something and I feel like what I know is correct, I will, tell you that it's correct. And if you don't think it's correct, I won't think less of you as a person. I will try to convince you that what you think is wrong and what I know is right, but I'm not trying to do that because I'm a Mr. Know-it-all. Unironically, that is unfortunately one of the aspects of having autism. I tend to know a lot of useless random shit that really has no purpose being in my mind, but it is there. And for that purpose, I try to help other people by giving them that information, and other people might not consider that to be help. They might consider that to be me being a know-it-all asshole, basically. And that isn't the truth, from my perspective anyway. I understand how people can see it that way. So really, all I wanted to really sort of get to, and I'm going to have to digress a lot here, is that unfortunately, people don't like to be my friend, and I don't have a lot of friends. I don't really have any real life friends. Again, this is not me trying to garner any type of pity. I could care less if you pity me or you feel sorry for me, because that's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is voice how difficult it is to be like me in a world full of people who aren't like me. It is, it's very difficult, and I struggle with this sort of stuff all the time. And I just really want to say towards the end of this video that I understand why you don't like me. I understand why I'm difficult to be around. And I'm sorry that I couldn't be a better person to you. I'm sorry that we lost touch, and I'm sorry that I essentially fucked you off with me. But again, there's not a lot I can do, because this is just who I am. And if you knew what it was like to struggle with the things I struggle with, you might be slightly more understanding, though I doubt you would be.